Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, especially envy strong style cinephile. So, Batwoman, I think the episode was called How Does Your Garden Grow? Mary got whammied by the poison ivy, and there's repercussions from that. So, let's geek about it for a scant few minutes because that's basically the premise of the show. The episode, we saw Mary get kidnapped by some vines from poison ivy. A few episodes back, and now we're dealing with the situation from it. Apparently, this poison ivy-ness is like an infection. It's like a disease that can get passed on from person to person by just having infected plants get in them some kind of way. We see in that episode where after she got kidnapped, we saw her pulling a piece out of her arm or whatever, so it seems that's the trick. So on the one hand, I'm not sure where I land on the side of this being a transferable thing, a sickness, a disease, intoxication of some sort, because I feel like that's where you run into the issues with this whole Batman trophy thing, and my issue with it being that, as I said in the last video, they're not like these magically imbued sort of things that give you powers and stuff, but apparently they are, because we found out that the Killer Croc thing, that was like a sickness and an infection. Now the poison ivy thing is a sickness and an infection. So it's just, I like them just being Killer Croc, poison ivy. Like, their issues are uniquely their issues, not that they just get passed around like a hot potato, and this person can be a Killer Croc, and this person can be a Killer Croc, and that person can be a poison ivy, and that person can be a poison ivy. I'm not like really feeling that, but it is what it is at this point. It's what we're dealing with. If it stops, as I said before, if this is the climax of the whole Batman trophy gimmick, then I'm fine with it, and we can dive deeper into addressing Mary if she turns out to be the big bad of the season. When stands to reason that maybe she could be, well, no, because there's too many episodes left for her to be the big bad, so scratch that thought. But she can cause some issues right now. We know we've got the whole like mid-season finale coming up soon, which I think I saw a spoiler picture where she's fully green with the red hair and totally poison ivied up, and that's supposed to be what she comes out in next in the mid-season finale. So we get her fully poison ivied up. I did like the fact that they dealt with it immediately. Like, the first victim gets found early on in the episode. He gets taken to Mary's clinic, and then he freaks out seeing her because she's the one that did it to him, and she's kind of foggy on what happened. Alice kind of picks up on what happened before everybody else. Mary goes to the cave, tells the rest of the team, and I like that. I like the fact that we're addressing it right away. We're not carrying it out, padding it out for another few episodes before we have the reveal to the rest of the team about what's going on with Mary. They don't exactly seem helpful in stopping it, and of course Ryan is caught up with her own thing with her mom and trying to protect her mom. You have Sophie looking into the Black Glove Society, which creates a rift between her and Ryan, because Ryan is trying to protect her mother and protect her brother, who's got his own issues, which we saw in the last episode. But Sophie is like a dog with a bone when stuff is bothering her, stuff that she needs to check out, and her sister was nearly killed by these dudes that it seems like Ryan is protecting, so she's kind of a little bit mad about that. So we saw where Mary kind of got caught up in this, where she kidnapped the dude from the Black Glove Society. That her trigger is just righting these perceived wrongs against her, or in her orbit, seeking her sense of justice, which we see with the first guy who apparently she met on like a Tinder ripoff app, and he kind of gave her the cold shoulder, brushed her off, said, "You're nice, you have a nice personality, but no." And she, went after him. She goes after the Black Glove Side dude. And now we know that she's full on poison ivy, so it remains to be seen. Now she's full on poison ivy, it remains to be seen who she goes after next in her quest for, like I said, her view of justice. She gets sent off after Renee Montoya by Alice, because Alice is trying to, play the game and kind of see how she can manipulate Mary and come out on top. I'm sure that's going to backfire on Alice in a few episodes down the line. But we apparently find out that Poison Ivy was lured into a trap, and she's trapped somewhere in Gotham, presumably, without access to water and light and just things that would give her power and enable her to escape. So Alice kind of tells Mary that, which sends Mary after Montoya to kill her, presumably, but the other guys show up. Mary steals the AI from Luke's suit and basically lays waste to the team and then gets away with Alice. So it remains to be seen kind of where their partnership is going to go. Like I said, I fully expect Mary to like just cut Alice loose at some point. When she figures out that Alice is trying to manipulate her, Alice will be in over her head, probably needs saving from Ryan, and that'll be that. I like that this episode kind of deals with the fact the drama, the tension in this episode, the discord between Mary and the team felt warranted. It felt organic because we've had this build. It's not just a one episode thing where it's like issues, drama just for the one episode. It's been building because Mary is a sounding board for these guys. She goes out of her way to help these guys, and then she has problems and it's like they're not even paying attention to her. She's in the background. Everything's got to come before her, so she's just mad. And this whole poison ivy thing just releases her inhibitions and her it just allows her to speak and think more freely, act on maybe some of the impulses that she may have in the back of her mind, but she's not going to, she's not that kind of person. I like that. Again, I just don't like right at the moment, not exactly where I land on the whole poison ivy infection thing. But for Mary to kind of grow a set and lash out at Ryan for very valid reasons, and for them to have a reckoning that will, in the end, allow them to grow and progress as a team and get closer. I mean, as I said in previous videos, as they kind of learn and grow and work more together, there's going to be changes in their dynamic. There's going to be evolutions in their dynamic. There's going to be scraps and scrapes and discord like we're seeing between Mary and the team, and then between Sophie and Ryan, because Ryan's trying to keep, Jada and Marcus protected, and keeping Sophie kind of out of the way. Montoya tells Sophie to back off of the Black Glove Society because that'll come back to bite her, so maybe they turn out to be a larger threat in the end. Remains to be seen. But all in all, this was a fairly fun, straightforward episode. It's a simple premise. Mary's whammied and everything else spills out from there. So it's a simple story. It was a simple episode, I think, to come together, and they dealt with things. We got more on the background of Renee and Ivy and what happened to her, and then we got some Sophie. Renee boot knocking, which I'm sure that's just, they were both drunk and needy, and that won't be a thing. You got Sophie and Ryan and Mary kind of evolving. You've got Alice trying to make a power play, which like I said is going to backfire on her. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this episode, but again, it was a pretty simple, straightforward episode. So kudos to the writers for this. They did a good job, I think. I'm curious as to how this Mary Ivy will play out in the future, especially with the costume change and all that stuff that comes with it. So we'll see how it plays out in the end. But those are some of my thoughts on it, scattered as they often are. But you guys out there think, let me know in the comments below. Follow me on social media. Talk to me there, talk to me here. Until next time, let us geek.